Vehicle headlights brighten the dusty roads under the soft complexion of pre-dawn light. A new day in southwest Florida, the landscape in ruin. People operating heavy machines are moving vessels, structures, and belongings to the sides of roads. Survivors in these communities who evacuated are coming back to homes destroyed and belongings washed away by Hurricane Ian's record storm surge. Mike, you lost your home at this point.
Yes.
Where do you go from here?
I don't know. I really don't know. Hopefully we have insurance. Some form of insurance. I don't know what. According to the insurance people, they were denying us right away. I don't know how that works. I don't know.
Standing on their driveway, Mike and his significant other, Diana, look upon their belongings in horror. The distraught on their faces is excruciating. The inside of their home has been stripped already, and it's just a frame with wood and concrete. Up and down their block, all the homes look like this now. The American Red Cross is on the ground, trying to assist.
Right now, people need just the basic emergency needs, and looking around here right now, there's nothing more clear than the fact that people are going to need help for a long time.
Residents are roaming their communities, trying to salvage what they can. The shock is beginning to wear off, and the sadness all around is taking hold.
It's catastrophic, and it's not just, I know that if we're feeling this way, like, we're not the only ones.
As Hurricane Ian came ashore, Sheena Brooks Stockton and her wife sheltered in their home on Fort Myers Beach. They are thankful to be alive. Their home is partially destroyed, and they had to walk off the island to safety in the immediate aftermath. Their belongings clutched in their arms.
So many people have given us a lot to help us survive. Our people in our community, just beach residents, taking care of beach residents. And I think it's that support and that, that kind of thing that's keeping us going, keeping us alive.
With search and rescue operations still ongoing on the barrier islands, Sheena and others can't get back to what's left of their homes and belongings. And as the long days and nights continue, the suffering infiltrates the living.
But disasters don't discriminate. What can we do to help them? What can the community around them do to bring them all into their first steps back into recovery? It's going to be a long ride.
Here's some drone video yesterday in North Wildwood, New Jersey. It shows you the dunes that have been depleted during this week's storm that developed from the remnants of Ian. So some dunes actually have 10 to 12 foot vertical drops. It makes it very difficult to get down to the beach and oftentimes dangerous, because if you've ever been on one of those as a kid, it just gives out right underneath you, and that's a steep drop. So some Jersey Shore towns are actually planning to bring out the bulldozers to push the sand back into place so people will have access to the beach. Other parts of the shore actually also saw significant flooding, and so something that we'll be talking about here as well. But again, it just shows you the power. This was after Ian had fallen apart. The remnants of that was still able to carve up the coasts of the Northeast.
Yeah, I mean, just incredible. That last shot right there. Wow. What you see behind me is just a sliver of the effort that so many people are bringing into Southwest Florida to try to get that help and to just bring some hope here. I mean, everywhere we've shown you so far has been absolutely devastated. It's catastrophic damage everywhere you look. But behind me is a much different image. You'll see here the number of church members and volunteers here with Next Level Church who are gathering the dozens of cases of water and supplies, whether that's basic needs, toothpaste, soap, cleaning supplies, everything that these people, unfortunately, that have been so heavily impacted by Hurricane Ian are very much in need of after this storm just wiped out nearly everything that they own. I want to bring in Lead Pastor Matt Keller with me. Pastor, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us and for making this effort and doing this with your team. What is it like to see so many people come out, but also see the line of cars that are behind us of how many people really do need this help?
Well, yeah, it's a heartbreaking thing to watch, to know that right now nearly all of Southwest Florida, especially in Lee County, is still in a food and water emergency. And so because there's a boil water notice, people just don't have food and water. So at this location of our church, we're serving about 2,000 people a day average with food and water, baby supplies, as you said, cleaning supplies. And so we're just trying to offer hope as best we can.
You know, it's hard to look at what Southwest Florida looks like today. You know, I lived here several years, and I know the passion and the strength that exists in this community. And to see these agencies from all across Southwest Florida, I mean, I saw Miami-Dade County here, Broward County, they're here bringing in their support, knowing that they could have very well, you know, faced the same devastation with the storm. They missed it. What's it like to see help come in from all over the state?
It's amazing. We're so thankful for all of the help that we're getting from the East Coast, our brothers and sisters on the East Coast who are standing with us and, you know, doing donation drives and all of that. And so thank you for your support. It means the world to us in a season like this, and we promise we got you next. Hoping it doesn't happen, but we're all in this together. We Floridians, we stick together.
I know this is the immediate need right now. People need water, they need food, they need to survive what could be next several days, if not months, of you know, struggle, of lacking resources. Where do you think we go from here, though? How does Southwest Florida begin to process what it's going to take to truly rebuild?
Well, you know, it starts with, as you said, rescue and then relief. And so these first few weeks are about relief. And really, until that boil water notice can get lifted, we're going to be in a food and water emergency and a crisis. And then after that, it really turns into long-term recovery. And so, you know, churches like ours are so positioned to be able to help with that long-term. We're here. We've been here for 20 years, and we're going to be here for the next 20 years and beyond.
Water rising several days after Hurricane Ian moved through central Florida. Look at where this is located, Sanford, Florida. So you take I-4 to the northeast of Orlando, and that is where this community lies. And you'll see this led to all sorts of problems where you had these communities that lived along the water. The only way to navigate them is just like that, through a kayak, as so many of these areas just turn into a lake. Downtown Sanford along Lake Monroe was one of those areas that got hit hard because of all the water that was continuing to rise. Because of the terrain of this area, the water doesn't have anywhere to go, and so it's going to be staying at this major flood stage through the weekend and into the days to come. And a lot of this is coming from the St. Johns River, something that we will be looking at, but it shows you the scope of Hurricane Ian, that even on the east coast of Florida, they're still dealing with the flooding concern.
So we're also seeing just disturbing images, but they're coming with stories of survival. This person here was a store manager just across the bridge on the Fort Myers side. Water rising up to his chest during Hurricane Ian. He was able to survive by clinging to a pole. And now take a look at this next video. A person who operates a food truck that somehow was left unscathed during the hurricane is now feeding people for free. And what he's doing is he's coming out, he's feeding people, they're giving him tip money. He goes, buys more food with that night, and follows back the next day with more free food. He's getting donations from all over the country, and he's very grateful. Listen to this.
People from Miami, from Tampa, people from Michigan, Virginia, Illinois, Missouri, dropping water off, bringing me gas, bringing us paper towels. I've been getting goosebumps talking about it. That's how generous the whole United States has been coming over here.
We want to get right now to Governor DeSantis, who is speaking in Daytona Beach right now on the ongoing recovery efforts. Let's take a listen.
We've been up and down places in Southwest Florida since the storm hit. We were there the next morning. You know, it's interesting how nice the weather is. Like when a hurricane comes through, you go the next day, the weather looks so good. But it was just unbelievably violent in terms of storm surge, massive amounts of rainfall. And the impacts of this have been very, very broad. And there's been almost 2,500 rescues since the storm hit the state of Florida. They've also searched all the search and rescue total. They've searched now close to 100,000 structures, particularly in those really hard-hit areas, searching for survivors and searching for what may be behind there. So it's really been a Herculean effort in terms of the search and rescue, and I think it's probably been as good as I've seen since I've been involved in any of this, even before I was governor. So we want to thank everybody that was involved in that effort. We're now in a situation where you have over 99%. Florida has power a week after the storm. And if people have lived in Florida a while, sometimes this power was out for weeks in the past in the storms. Even in situations where you weren't even in the eye of the storm, you may end up not having anything. And that's because if a storm comes and everyone's dilly-dallying, well, that's time off the clock if you don't start for 3 or 4 days. And so we had people in there right away. I think it's made a big difference.
Amazing Northern Lights show. It is spectacular. Look at those bright stars that really bumps up against those dancing green lights. This is all that interaction of nitrogen in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Now, this was shot in Norway by a woman named Veronica. Now, Veronica actually made this trip just to see the Northern Lights, so I'm glad that she caught them. And on Twitter, she said, "I just achieved a dream, literally jumping with joy." What a beautiful scene. Well, this is some incredible video as well. It's actually from San Diego, from the National Weather Service office. That's a dust storm that you can see from the air, and this is kind of a cool perspective. You see the puffy cumulus clouds drifting through the sky, and underneath that, that is the dust storm. So very interesting to see all of this come together. This dust storm did roll through the deserts of San Diego and through the Coachella Valley yesterday. Just so interesting to see. This is at Father Hennepin State Park in Minnesota. It is beautiful. I mean, I would love to just hop on my bike, take a little bit of a bike ride underneath that canopy. Here's your favorite color, Jason. Orange showing up. So just all the feels of fall are, spreading across the upper Midwest.
I'm Amy Freeze. Welcome to Fox Weather's YouTube page. We have more great videos on the way, so make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all things weather.